Hey everybody, it's Extra Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop along the StahlWille previously on YouTube. I believe we made a post, said I was going to finally release the big purchase from Black Friday a year ago, which of course was the PrimeWeld TIG Welder. And that video, I didn't open that thing until Valentine's Day, and then that video just sat there for all that time. And it dawned on me as I purchased this item today, I thought, you know, if I don't like release that immediately, no one's gonna see that video until like July or August probably. So for the sake of getting this out in a timely fashion, we're gonna go ahead and do just that. And I will tell you right now, I'm freezing out here, and I also left some keys, so I don't have all the companions here I would like to, but I think we'll get by. And what I did, I had a 25% off, not like that generic one they did for the new year. I get like that one they email to you. And it expired today, and you can't let those go to waste. And what I was going to buy the other day wasn't in, it still didn't come in, and so I went in and I did not use it on this. This was $19.99, so we're not putting a 25% coupon on that. But I grabbed what I wanted to. I'll make a video on that item as well. It's something I've wanted for quite a while, so it worked out okay. And I was actually running through. I was trying to like quickly. I didn't have much time. I did it on the you know, lunch hour, if you want to call like 40 minutes where you don't need a lunch hour, but that's sort of the situation. And I was actually trying to find something else just real quick for work, and I couldn't, and I saw these and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grab that. So we did, and that's why we're here tonight freezing. But I've got problems, and it's with this, and it's probably not what you're thinking. Now the tool itself, who knows, we might have a lot of issues, but I don't know what to expect yet, right? This is a pretty brand new item actually, and what it is, if you can't tell from the packaging, it is Icon's 8-inch needle nose pliers. Pretty self-explanatory. They did a nice job there. Tell you what they are if you didn't know, and you got a big nice size designation. Looking at the packaging, we're then drawn to the lifetime warranty. Why? Because it's in red, so it stands out. Coming up to the top though, let's kind of get this where you can possibly read along. Machine jaw for precise gripping power with positive control. Cool. Forged steel with higher alloy content for increased strength and durability. Tapered tips for better accessibility. And you think, okay, typical needle nose jargon, let's spin her around. Longer contoured handle with improved joint location for higher leverage and increased comfort. Made with forged steel with higher alloy content for long life. Tapered tips for better accessibility. Natural clear coat finish for lasting durability, dipped cushion grip for added comfort and greater pulling power. You'll note the back is largely like the front, minus the warning sign and a barcode, right? These are designed by Icon in the USA, manufactured in Taiwan, distributed by Harbor Freight. And that's it, you have nothing else. Now, I still plan to make a video on some Icon thoughts so I don't have to like waste a ton of time every time I open something, which for the longest time we had no Icon. And there's a reason for that we're not going to cover here. But, I've since acquired some, right? Started with the pliers wrench, which was a blatant knockoff of Knipex. That's something that's locked up in the roll cart right now. I didn't bring keys for it, and I don't want to run back in. It's held up fine. You know, it's based off of the version 1 of the Knipex pliers wrench. It should. But we haven't had it long enough to really make a determination. I still personally think it's a little spendy, especially when you can get Knipex for roughly the same price. These $19.99 is not terrible, especially compared, of course, to what a lot of you are here for, German tools. The issue I have in this case, right off the bat, it's not the price point, it's not that they were in stock, nothing like that, it's that they've not done enough here to sell the frickin' tool. Like, you come in, and on the wrenches, you know, like we get the stubby ratcheting wrenches, and they're very intricate details on the back. They give you the product length for each wrench, and all kinds of details, almost to the point where people aren't even going to consume all of it, right? With this, there's something that's the big reason I bought these, and it's not really even highlighted here. When I read this and you see machine jaw for precise gripping power with positive control, the average person is just going to think like, okay, they ground it down, tapered it, whatever, right? They've got teeth in it. Cool. Well, here's the deal. And this is actually, if you know anything about me, you know, something that sells me on pliers more so than anything is crosshatch teeth, right? I'm a big proponent of it. Now granted, you know, some situations you want smooth jaws, whatever, but if I'm having to use pliers for typical plier scenarios, I prefer crosshatching. I think I get a better grip, a better hold. It doesn't, like with teeth, it's constantly ripping out. The crosshatch grabs better. Your mileage may vary. That's been my personal experience across many years and many projects. These have that. You would never know that based on machine jaw. You know, that's a little too vague, okay? It says it on the website. It shows a picture, in fact, of the jaw with crosshatch teeth. That could surely go somewhere. That could surely be stated here, like machine jaw. That doesn't mean much, but if you say crosshatch teeth for improved gripping and pulling or whatever, that tells the consumer, right? The average person is not going to know unless you like are on the website, keep track of the new tools, or check stock before you go and notice it. You're never going to know. And there's no picture. They didn't even do that. Like on the backside, like have the, you know, exploded diagram or an actual picture of the product. You can't fan these out. And so that's an unknown. Something that I didn't pay attention to. Typically when you have needle nose pliers, especially of 8 inches, and they have crosshatched or teeth, not just smooth jaws, right, for something delicate and precise, you expect what? You expect there to be a cutter. I don't know what the other side of these looks like because it's not see-through, which gives you more space for text and or pictures, which aren't here, but is that a cutter? I don't know. Like I'm squeezing down, it's nice and tight up top, it opens here. Again, that's kind of what you expect with something that cuts. I'm not sure that it is. It doesn't really look like a blade edge, and I legitimately cannot tell. So, we're going to get these opened up. What you can experience here is the handle, okay? And I feel like it might be a little small. We'll get to that in a second. But the one thing, like the one definitive positive that I took from the Icon pliers wrench was I was very surprised that the handle was pretty dadgum comfortable, right? I'm not a huge fan of like the dipped or double dipped stuff, right? But for what it's worth, it's actually a pretty comfortable handle. I guess, you know, you could say that was inspired by Snap-on, or that's what they're trying to emulate in that case. And I have to say, it's actually not that bad. So far, so good. I haven't had one pull off. I also, true story, you know, I have a lot of choices. I have my favorites. I do have myself use that. But sometimes if I'm in a different box or a different area and it's not right there, I'm going to go for something else, right? So, with that said, one of the friends we did grab right here, a pair of Stahlwilles, we'll cut this off, a little cable tie, and we will see if we can just slide this out without having to do anything. This is something else, okay? For what you go through, I'm not even going to look at that yet, for what you go through opening up the sockets or the wrenches, there's like the clear acrylic display case, there's like a million #1 Phillips screws in it, and then you have like the plastic cover on top of that, and then a cable tie or something that's like banded down in multiple places. I was ready, you know, the Knipex is currently locked up, but I was ready to get the old Picard out and have to go dicing this thing up in front of you. Not the case. So cool, that's actually good. Now with these out, this is at least smooth because, again, my hand, you can see where my thumb is naturally resting. We can get a decent look here. It's just so much wider at the base there. You can see that now that it's out of the plastic, you can pick it up better. I don't think it's got a cutter. Let's flip her over. It does not. Wow. Okay, so, you know, you just would expect that. Now, if these were smooth jaws, you know, like if you were going to do something delicate with it, like I stated earlier, I don't want a cutter there. I don't want to run the risk of screwing something up or gripping too low and snipping it on accident. The vast majority of the time, you're going to have like combination needle nose, right? It's just sort of almost an accepted standard now. But, hey, that makes these unique compared to most of what we have, which could serve a better purpose for us. So on this side that was on display, you've got the Icon logo there. If we spin it around, we can kind of see how they're ground down. We've got some tiny, tiny text here. Wear eye protection, warning, not insulated, will not protect against electric shock. Okay, that's also something you could put on the packaging, although it should be self-explanatory. Now, are they stiff, are they loose? They're about what you would expect, and they should break in. Now, right here, we can confirm Number one, that's what I want to see there on the crosshatch, but there's definitely not a cutting edge. So that may be good, it may be bad. It looks like they are oiled. These were not rusted, not flash rusted, nothing like that. So that's a good selling point. Might be nice, you know, again, I don't know what everyone's going to use their pliers for, but it might be nice to have the crosshatching go a little past that, all right? You know, maybe even to here, especially since we don't have a cutter now. It does give you something smooth. You can bend sheet metal around it, all kinds of things. But when you look at the business end here, it's not much material, right? It's kind of, let's see if we can get that focused. Maybe. Oh, Lord. Well, yeah. Every single time it comes into focus. We haven't had this problem in quite some time, at least to this degree. There you go, that might be the best we get. So, it looks okay, it looks fairly deep through the camera. Now what I'm going to do is back out, and we're just going to see what it feels like. Not quite as deep feeling with my finger, kind of disappointing there, but it should grab and hold. What is the deal? Like I said, I haven't had that trouble in some time now. Through the packaging, I thought it looked like this side was ground a little bit more aggressive than this one, and out of the packaging, I think the same thing. Not a huge deal, but it does kind of bother me. I don't know if that's just my, you know, parallax, the angle we're viewing it at, but it almost looks like this side is just a little bit more aggressively ground than that one. They come to a decent tip, so no huge complaints there. But yeah, what I want to do, ultimately, again, the real test with these is using them over time. It can grab the plastic. Now the plastic should be kind of slick there from the oil. I'm bearing down decently. Okay, hey, that is impressive. And the cool thing, I don't know that this will focus. This isn't a planned demonstration. Look at the teeth there, okay? So, they are working. The thing that worries me, I don't know how long they're going to last. And again, that's just something we'll have to wait and see over time. But for 20 bucks, and again, you could put 10% or the Icon 10% or even a 20% on these. Knock it down to 15. I feel like 20 is okay range for these. That said, there are some other options. As I mentioned, I'm a big needle nose person. It's only right to do a little comparison here, right? So, what Harbor Freight compared these to is Snap-on, and of course I don't have Snap-on stuff here at the house, so we can't compare there. Big selling point in Icon wins was 19 bucks versus roughly like 50, 55-ish. So these are roughly like a third of the price. You know, just kind of depends how they hold up, I suppose. But out of everything I have here, we're kind of going in shifts from like 6 to 8.5. We've got the smallest ones, the Hazet. I actually use these quite a bit. They've broke in some. They did flash rust, which was kind of disappointing. But you can see there, no crosshatch teeth. They do have a different gripping area, and then of course they cut. So it's combination needle nose. Right here, the Wiha, kind of a 6.5-inch handles are super comfortable on these. Again, we have standard teeth that come down in good ways, cutter area, combination needle nose. Up next, Stahlwille. I use these a lot. They are 7 inches. I'm going old school here. You can convert to metric if you want to. It's like 180 or something if I'm remembering correctly. These have been really good to me. I think these are the ones that came flash rusted. But again, right there, I want you to pay attention to the Stahlwille. You've got your main teeth, you've got a little smooth area, then you've got like a gripping section, then you have a cutting section, okay? On the Wihas, once more, it's teeth, decent way down, just smooth, and then your cutter. The Hazet, again, had multiple zones, just like our Stahlwille. Up next, we have a couple sizes of these NWS. I grabbed this one because these, what I've been doing with them, I don't know, might be smart, might be stupid. I can grab wires or lines or all kinds of things that are cylindrical and don't go places very well. And basically softly grip it, which again, we've got teeth all the way down here. Then I've got a smooth section, then I've got a gripping zone, and then I've got a cutting section with a gripping zone. So obviously, if you're using wires, you want to avoid that. But if I come up here and just kind of grip or twist, I can then shove this through grommets, firewalls, floorboards, body plugs. That's basically what these do for me, and they do it very, very well. So again, multifunction, right? The next up is probably the dirtiest, least presentable pair here, and that's because they stay on the bench. They're still on the bench, and they get used a ton. They're the Channellocks. They're 8.5 inches. Okay. These, again, one of the reasons they stay out and they've been used so much is the teeth. They have cross-hatched teeth, okay? Right there, you can see it. They're filthy, my apologies, but really nice crosshatch. These have been used a ton, and they're very aggressive. This is more aggressive, as used and old as this pair is, which isn't very old. What, not even 10 years. But it's more aggressive right now than the Icons are. Again, that could be good, that could be bad. But you'll note also it's got a cutting area here, and then it's got a gripping and pulling area down below the handle. It's strange to me that these aren't combination, and it's also worrisome to me that when you don't go combination, that we didn't extend the jaws, like the teeth, the cross-hatching farther down. Is that part of why they're so low? Possibly. And if you think like, hey, now it's Icon versus Knipex. Now, it was really Snap-on this time. Like I said, that's actually, I still at 10,000 subscribers, if we ever get there. I don't beg and plead like a lot of people. Maybe we should, I don't know. But if we ever do get there, that's like legitimately, I seek feedback from people like, hey, what would you recommend? What do you think I would like or use? But one of the things that I fully intend to actually buy from Snap-on, if we hit that milestone, is a pair of their long needle nose, the Talon grip. I think the 3-position is probably what we'll go with, sort of differentiate them from this. But until that happens, this is what we're sort of working with right now. And if you're like, hey, speaking of Knipex, where is Knipex? Well, I've actually got a pair. In this video, I recorded this, geez, like a long time ago, and I've never edited it or released it. It was kind of like right before my thumb got pulled into the saw at work. And I'll have to actually like look at that every time I like, you know, go to edit. It's like there, one of the first files, there's a couple car shows I never did, that, and then like some screwdriver testing and right before this happened. But so I've never used these. I actually literally had to go pull them out of the box. It was a I won't tell you, it's in the set. I don't want to like spoil the video if we ever do release it, but what's cool here, these are actually 8 inches, 200 millimeters for all you metric people or people that live on the other side of the ocean. So this is kind of something that they might compare to, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and do that. And you'll immediately notice a couple of things. Number one, the grip comes up higher, which you heard me complain about that. Well, you'll see that on all of these, okay? So that's a legit complaint, and probably a way that these are $19. That said, you can get some Channellocks for a pretty good price. These are the code blue handles, so you'll spend a little bit more. But I would venture to guess you get some standard 318s for very close to what you'd pay for the Icons. Made in America, lifetime warranty as well. The Knipex here, look at the profile difference, okay? These taper down way more, get to a much finer point. The cool thing here on the Knipex, and each one's kind of different. I don't intend for this to be like some be-all, end-all combination needle nose plier thing, but see how far down the teeth go? Like, when I say like, oh, that's where the teeth stop, that's kind of weird. It's because I've never had pliers that like stop there, and if they do, they pick back up somewhere, right? It's just profile to profile, you get the idea. It's very, very discernible. Other thing I want to highlight, because this is a big gripe of mine, I told you my thumb rests here. Look what the Knipex does. It goes up, and then it has a hand guard, okay? So where does my thumb rest on the Knipex? At the hand guard. Now, granted, if those were shorter Knipex, we might dwarf them. The code blue from Channellock. Look at the difference. Not just thickness, which I personally like, although these are a heavy pair. One of their cons, I guess. Some like it, some don't. Again, look at the difference there. Also, how massive these are, but then yet they taper down to a finer tip. Kind of crazy when you look at the heft of those, right? NWS versus the Icon. Look, we go that much, just that little bit. It's the same thing I gripe about constantly with breaker bars. It's like everyone stops here, and where does your hand go? Here. And it's like, if you would just extend the handle, you know, like 1.5 inches, it would be great. But sort of the same thing. And what does this do? Just like the Knipex, that's where your thumb rests naturally. It's a beautiful concept. Stahlwille handguard. Where does my thumb go? Right there. The Wiha's much smaller, but again, the handguard kind of keeps you in that range. And even if you go out on the top, you got a nice landing pad for gripping. Hazet, what do we have? We've got a kick out. It's again ergonomics, you know, like you hear the term and now you can kind of see it put into practice. The Stahlwille's little side cutter, since they're here, again, same thing. So I'm going to use these. I kind of think they'll be okay. It's very weird to me that there's not like a cutting area. It's just insane. And like the teeth, I feel like we could have gone, I mean, and I'm not making this up. It's not like this is crosshatch and then we get to a regular section of just typical, you know, serrated jaws. Like this is all smooth. Now, sometimes, like I said, you know, like you might have pliers just like this from MWS and you might cut stuff all the time inadvertently. That's bad. You don't want to do that. You will not do that with these. This is a selling point for the Icon or any similar style plier, right? Going price-wise, again, Hazet's going to be crazy high, at least over here. Probably different across the pond. Stahlwille, you know, like tool of the day pricing, you're probably going to be able to snag them for 29 to 35. They're not as bad as people think. NWS, depending on the length, I wouldn't at all be surprised if you couldn't wind up with some for around the $20 mark. The Wihas probably are in this same price point. Again, they would not be made in Germany. They used to do that. These would be Vietnamese made. The Knipex, again, tool of the day. You know, if you land something there, yes, again, you'll argue you can use a coupon here. You're never really going to take more than $5 or so off of these. Well, I thought they were worth a try, right? So that's why we've got them. My biggest thing right off the bat is just the handle. Okay, I like it. You know, it feels good in hand. It's not my choice of colors, not my choice of material or texture, but it's not terrible. It's pretty good, especially for the price point. But then where's my thumb? It's right there. That's the landing spot for them, right? Even if you're back here gripping, where does your thumb want to rest? Right there. Everything here, Vietnamese, German, you know, American, they all have bigger overmold areas and they have thumb rests and hand guards. So that's a little knock there. Again, sort of weird, but it could be a benefit that there's no cutter. You would think that would keep the price low. Maybe these would be like their $14.99 pair, and then for $20 or $24, you get the combination. Maybe they'll bring that out at some point. Who knows? But the thing that kind of worries me is just the low, like the tooth. I think we're going to have to go through here and compare. Let me clear some space. Alright, I think I've made enough. We're just like we compared side to side real quick again. Not trying to like make this be all end all. When we have no seat time with these particularly, this is just to give you an idea. We're going to go right to the Knipex. Okay, so if I open these suckers up, we'll go over openings here in a little bit. Look at the difference in the jaws here. Okay, like teeth, 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 teeth. You know what I mean? And then we can cut too. And right here, like this ends where you see that little dab of oil, that's where the teeth come to an end. So again, know what you're buying these for, and this might be like the perfect pair. It's certainly unique compared to what I've got. So there are probably applications where this could be like, hey, that's actually going to be really good for what I'm doing. Channellock opened up. They're actually, believe it or not, the most similar to the Channellock. Okay, it's actually really hard for you to see that. These are so filthy. This side's cleaner. Fantastic. So the Channellock, sort of, you can see that triangular point sort of pointing up as it tapers. And you can also see that they're much coarser on the crosshatching. This is a much finer crosshatch on the Icon. And like I told you, as used up as these are, as much as I've done with them, this is still way more aggressive than what we have here. This is not bad, but you know, the fact that I know what I've done with these and it still feels deeper is worth noting. But I would say, if you have a pair of Channellock 318s, or I guess any Channellock needle nose, these are actually very, very similar. Now, why would you compare to Snap-on? And not Channellock, well, they're trying to, of course, tailor these to the professional, if you will. And similarly, the Channellocks aren't going to cost you $54, okay? You can still probably get the Icon cheaper than you could Channellock, but, you know, if you're in the market for a great American-made needle nose, the answer's right there. And again, out of everything on this table, that is the most economical. Now, prices could have gone up, you know, but like what I paid for these, that is the cheapest and possibly about halfway down. Unless you catch a good deal, which you can do with minimal effort. The NWS comparison. NWS has a little bit more in terms of the tooth, you know, running down the length of the plier. But then again, when we have the smooth section, this picks back up with a gripping area and the cutting area. So you've got gripping here, and then right here, again, I actually use that quite a bit. It catches bolts and nuts really, really well. Stahlwille comparison, let's do that. Check it out. The Stahlwille extends much, much farther down. I know it's just a hard thing to film, but it extends way farther down, has a much smaller smooth area, which again, pro or con, depends on what you're doing. And then you get back to gripping and cutting. The Wiha, this might be an interesting comparison. Again, if you've never used Wiha pliers, I think they get a bad rap. For the price point, they're also, you know, not that bad. Teeth on the Wiha going to come down just a little bit farther, then you get to a smooth area, then a cutter. There's no additional gripping zones or anything with the Wihas, just kind of sticks to the basics there. The Hazets will come in, and this, to me, is kind of like the preferred scenario. Okay, obviously, do I wish Hazet had crosshatch teeth here? Oh yeah, that would be great. You'll note, even these Hazet serrated jaws there, if it looks deeper and more aggressive to you, it's because it is. They're roughly the same length. The Icon might go down just a tad more. It's not necessarily cross-hatched at that point. It's just sort of building up to it, but it is etched. You get a very faint smooth zone, but again, if I grab rod or something, you know, like I'm just going to put a coil, you know, turning a U with something, that's about all you would need, and then you've got a really nice grip zone, and then you've got cutters. So, coming in, we've done them all. This threw me off, little side cutters were there. So, it's just kind of whatever you want to do, right? Some people, if you just Harbor Freight's right there, you know, on your way home from work every day or something, at $19, I think they're worth trying. They have not at all been on the market. Anything that you hear, anything that you read, some guy swears to you these are the best needle nose pliers he's ever had. He's either had junk or he's lying, and I don't say that because these are terrible. These, if you're the first person in the country to get these, I don't think you've had them like 10 days yet, okay? So do not, you know, always take that into account. If somebody tells you these are the best pliers they've ever used for needle nose, you can believe it. These have been around forever. Same thing with a lot of these designs. This is like brand new, okay? If somebody tells you they're really good and they don't have any complaints yet, that's believable, okay? If a guy's been using these for a week at work or something, he's like, man, these are way better than I thought. I was worried about the jaws they're not wearing. That's a legitimate review you can consider valid. If somebody swears these are the greatest thing ever, question it. Be very cynical. So what I want to know from you, again, combination, you get the idea, right? Does that deter? Do you... And keep in mind, like, what's weird, if this was a smooth jaw set of pliers, I'd be totally fine. I wouldn't complain about no cutter. I wouldn't complain about anything. These would be great. But you open them up, and they are not smooth. They're smooth until you get to there, and then they're crosshatch, which is very aggressive compared to flat, smooth jaws, right? So, what I want to know, with what you do, either as a hobby or professionally, you go out, all of these are $19.99. You don't care about the brand, none of them are labeled. Take your grip, they're all there. I'm only concerned about this. Would you want crosshatch jaws here? We're going to say everything's crosshatched. Would you want smooth all the way down, or would you want combination and additional grip area? I think, and based on what everyone else is manufacturing, and even Harbor Freight's other needle nose pliers, I would think most people would want like combination, you know, or at least extra grip zones. I would have no issues with this giant smooth area if it was, again, a smooth jaw plier. It didn't have the crosshatch or serrated jaws at the top. It was just smooth, you know, that's great. But kind of an interesting choice, I have to say. Now, the good news, you kind of see what I have here. Everything else I have that isn't here is older and pretty much all combination needle nose. So these actually become unique, and that does serve a purpose. So if there's ever anything, and also just folding over sheet metal. I've been making like a lot of tabs and stuff recently. So having a big flat area here might be kind of nice. I've been using other things, you know, like a former, but sometimes, you know, you got to do what you got to do, especially weird angles. So maybe these will come in handy for me. Obviously, if I grab that with any of these, you know, and you want it to be, if it's visible and you're trying to make it look decent and presentable, not good, right? Especially with the aggressive ones. So there are advantages to that, but I would say like the vast majority of the time, that's the ticket you want to take. If you've got these and you want to pull something and then cut it, you have to have another pair of pliers. You would have to have your side cutters. If you need to pull something and then cut it with any of these, you have one tool, right? So kind of weird. I was so like miffed. I was like, man, I love crosshatching. How could they not like iterate that? And how do they not even like put a picture to tell people? Because I feel like if a guy sees this or a lady sees it in the store and it's like, it's got the picture, you know, like even it could be a black and white drawing and it shows the crosshatch, people might be like, man, you know, all my needle nose pliers just have those regular old plier teeth. I wonder if the crosshatch is better, you know? And it's a selling point. And at 19 bucks, people are probably going to try it. And it's not clear enough that these actually feature crosshatching. And I think they're shooting themselves in the foot there. Hopefully, if anyone watches this or like it gets back, like this is very constructive criticism here. Like, I can't say that these are garbage. I can't say these are great. You know, this is an initial impression and they need to tout that as a selling point. Something else, if we've elected not to go combination, tout that. You know, I'm sure there's a ton of people that are sitting here. It could be Knipex, it could be Snap-on, whatever, and there's probably a lot of you that have inadvertently clipped something. Whether it's a wire tie that doesn't matter, or if it's like the end with a terminated lead and some connector you just built, that leads to a very bad day. So these do have a selling point there, like highlight that. Something I would obviously love to see Icon do here, come out with another needle nose pair of pliers, but put the grip zone in a cutter, kind of like everything we see here. Keep the price competitive a little bit more than these. Go to town, you know, maybe wait a while, see how these sell, don't confuse the consumer, and then in the future release that. Something else I would like to see, and this is like unforgivable in my opinion. I know these are like low priced, but it just, I mean, they're 8-inch pliers, you know, you need to have the big handle. And by that, I even just, you know, like if my thumb was stopped here, let me show you how the Knipex work. You know, it's a natural ergonomic thing. And then I'm not sitting here complaining to you like, freaking paid 35 bucks for these, and I don't even have anywhere. And see how my hand just naturally lands there? It's literally ergonomics, okay? The grip is comfortable, I'll give them that. It's a little, it's not as tacky as you would think. Like it's a little more slippery. Not slippery, but like, this, it looks like it would be super like, ooh, you're in control. It's not bad, but it's slicker than you'd think. I'll leave it at that. But I just, something, just a little bit more time and development, you know, or like product testing or something, or get them in the hands of different people. Like if this was sent through engineering or people that sit behind desks or given out behind the scenes to people to test, like either they didn't use them or like maybe only 1 or 2 people complained or something. I don't know. But like if Stahlwille sent me something like, and it's like, man, I don't want to be a jerk and then stop sending me stuff, I would tell them, because like I would be pissed off if I had a pair of pliers that didn't have something there for my thumb. This is how they fall in your hand. It's how they rest. It's just, I don't know how this like slips through and nobody says anything. Maybe it was a deal where that was going to bump the cost up and they didn't feel like it would be competitive or sale. I don't know, but I do wish that that was there. So initial impression, for the money, Time will only tell. I have to see how the teeth hold up. I have to see if, like, maybe I find a ton of uses for this, and I'm like, man, this is kind of cool, and it works great for sheet metal or bending tabs or wires or looping stuff. That's awesome. It's a huge selling point. Crosshatch, it's not as deep and aggressive as I would have thought. It also, again, does not go down very far. I would kind of like, especially in this situation, maybe even come down here, you know, like 40 to 60% maybe. Time will tell. That's the thing. This is an unboxing with initial impressions. I can't tell you these are garbage. I can't tell you they're great, because if I did either one, I would be basing that off of nothing. So what I'm going to do here is just grab the Channellocks, because they are the only other crosshatch. So that, I mean, that is a huge thing, especially for people that like crosshatch. I'm going to grab this. This is the, just to show you, that's the side we grabbed with, you can't really even tell, but trust me, you can see that now. So I'm going to get this in roughly the same position. We're going to pull, squeezing about the same, let go. I don't know if you'll see it or I'll be able to showcase it, but even in this plastic, you can just tell that it's a deeper grip with that Channellock crosshatch. Like, see how you can see the pattern really well? Well, I mean, you know, if the camera could highlight that. I'm asking a lot of it with the glare. Maybe this angle is a little bit better. Well, I'm not going to waste your time, but rest assured, I'm not a man to lie to you. If everyone in the world rushes out and buys these, I gain nothing. Okay, maybe just people that hate me because they don't like them or something. I wasn't too hard. I was too easy on it or something. But it's a situation. These have a lot going for them. The crosshatch, the smooth, it's weird. You know, it's not what I expected, but I mean, it is a selling point. Advertise it as such. I mean, just do a drawing, showcase the plier, just enlarge it, have the crosshatch, and then have it smooth. And maybe even say, like, no cutting, so you don't inadvertently cut stuff. That sounds stupid, but again, tons of people do it, and so it is a selling point. But yeah, I'll have to use these, literally. I'm kind of debating taking them to work. In fact, I might throw them in my hoodie pocket here, and just literally, I've got, I think, 10 motors tomorrow. So that'll be unpacking. I can try them on staples, maybe, you know, kind of get a feel, see. Basically, if these are going to be junk, the crosshatch is going to wear and flatten out and become like totally moot, and it's just going to be smooth jaw pliers. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to know, and that would expedite it versus my limited time here at home, sadly. So maybe I'll do that. These are available. These are $19.99. Like I said, if you're patient, you can stick 10-20% on them, no issue. Sometimes they, you know, can't do it on Icon. Sometimes you can. But if you got, you know, like a month, 6 weeks to wait, you can save a few bucks. $20, it's not that big of a deal. If you're someone that grabbed these, I know you haven't had them long, but how are they holding up? Are you seeing any significant wear with the teeth? Are you liking it? I know a lot of people don't use crosshatch or don't really care. I do. I love it. This really isn't that bad. It's just the Channellocks are stupid aggressive. And I'm excited about these little guys. So it does suck that there's nothing here. That's like my biggest complaint, aside from them not really highlighting the features here. So I gave you a quick comparison, just side profile. Again, pretty much everything was thinner and, you know, more pointed, if you will. But again, we're going to try them. We'll give them a fair shake. And I think I'll just run them to work with me tomorrow. Throw them in my bag and pull some staples and crud with them. So are they perfect out of the box? No. Was there some stuff I'd change? Yep. $20? Not bad. Time will tell. That's the thing. I can't endorse these. I can't, you know, spritz them and burn them in the fire of junk tools. We have to have time. So with that said, for those of you battery light fans, it has been flashing, and we're going to get out of here. But yeah, that's what I grabbed. Again, with something else that might be pretty cool too. We'll make a video on it. And I wanted to do something really cool for the new year. I probably still will. It's just like too cold. It involves adhesive. And, I don't want to like waste it. If you know anything about adhesives, it's got timed out there. But if you know anything about adhesives, warmer weather is better. It's tomorrow, Friday. The weekend's supposed to be good, so I'll try to do that. Main thing though, this is something at least brand new, like within a 7-10 day period for you. These are that new, so I wanted to get that out. Most important thing, I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. Maybe enjoy the Hazet and Vera Advent calendars. And on a more recent note, I hope you all had a great New Year's. Hopefully you got some time off from work, got to spend some time with your family, friends, and of course hobbies. Maybe you picked up some new tools or got some new tools. Feel free to let me know down there in the comments what you picked up, how you're liking it. But again, I'm doing so many cool things, and it's just a matter of time until I can release them. And yeah, maybe I'll get some teasers on that coming up. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a channel update. Fan of the channel update or not, let me know. But yeah, there she lies, the Icon non-combination needle nose, which again, like buying them in the store, I didn't even like think like, oh, there's no cutter. I just assumed it was there, and then I was looking at them, you know, before I came out here and I was eating supper, and I was like, I don't think that's either really poorly done, you know, you kind of, if you flip this over, you know, you have that nice cutting edge, but like, there's that. You usually have like the big gap, and I thought, well, maybe they're flipped and it's just not very well done. It's just not there. So yeah, it kind of took me by shock when I came out here. So with that said, I will quit rambling. I'll probably go in and edit this, work out, and try to get some feeling back in my feet. So once more, hope you are all having a fantastic start to your 2023. Better, more prominent thing, I guess, since there was the big coupon at Harbor Freight for New Year. What did you get? Leave that down in the comments section too. So, with that said, thanks so much for watching. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which I haven't been on since Thanksgiving. My apologies there. Maybe soon I'll have time. All three at Lone Star Mopars. Website, lonestarmopars.com. With that said, subscribe if you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you liked the video. It helps the channel grow. And like I said, 7,500 Mac, 10,000 Snap-on. Who knows what we'll do after that? It's not really anything I have to worry about right now. With that said, these are going to work, and we'll see how they do. And since this is going to be released Saturday, I'll take pictures and maybe I'll post some updates on the teeth for you. So yeah, we'll expedite the wear on these suckers and see what they do. But once again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys back here for more action from the shop. Oh, you're still here? How about some bonus content? Random shanked object we shall not expose. Grabbing with the Icon. Driving with the Channellock. Yeah. Very aggressive, not as aggressive, but here's the question. These are some worn Hazets that are not crosshatched. What's going to happen here? These are also kind of undersized for this. Yep, that's the difference in the teeth. And again, those are used a lot. Stahlwille, what are we going to do? Wiha. Surprising good bite. Now they have not been used near as much as those two. These NWS used a lot, but with the wires, most of the wear is actually on the outside. Very smooth. Knipex here, again, not crosshatch. Let's see how they do. These are brand new, like they've never done anything. That had a little less pull than the Wihas. Channellock, once again, the most used out of all of these. Can pull off, obviously, you saw it there. Icons. That was a little better than the first round, maybe because I'm putting some dimples in that. But just quick test run here. Channellock grabs the hardest. I'm going to say, I think the Wiha, actually. Which, like I said, those have not been used much. They grab pretty hard. The Knipex was right there. The Icon on the second run I would have right there. If I average it out, I'd probably have Knipex a little higher. Stahlwille, and then probably NWS and Hazet. Keep in mind, these are also the smallest two. Okay, these are grossly undersized compared to the 8-inch. Or in this case, I mean, this 8.5, 9 inches. But just a quick little test there as a bonus for those of you that stuck around. And again, I use timestamps, and if you pay attention to that, I have that all outlined for you. So, battery's still not dead. Thought I'd throw that out there. But that said, hope I catch you back here for more from the shop. As I was putting everything away, one last thing here. I should note, like, these do have, for what it's worth, and it doesn't mean much, but like they have a very smooth finish. You can, I guess, feel the clear coat there. But I thought that was worth noting. Again, just kind of a nice It's not the very best finish you've ever seen, but it's not bad for $19. So yeah, but these are going to get cleaned up. I'm going to hit some Ballistol on the joint, and then these are going to get wiped down, and they will be headed to work tomorrow. So we'll see how they do. All right, we are back. It is the next night, obviously. I brought my keys out with me. Wound up super like warm day. It was like 70 degrees, kind of windy. Way nicer than last night, and my feet aren't cold right now, which is a very welcome change of pace. But I remembered my keys when I got in here. Of course, since it was super nice, I didn't leave work until about 6:45, and it was already dark, and you can't really enjoy the day. But gonna make this video a little bit longer. Obviously, these were locked up last night. This is just a quick update on these. Again, first ever Icon tool we purchased. It's a blatant knockoff of the Knipex, and it's been okay. I will tell you, every time you grab these after a hiatus or you've used something else, you certainly notice the heft of them. All you can really see, just a little bit of wear there. I think there's like a stain on the handle right there. I noticed there was 2 odd dots. I don't know if that's like oil from me or if that's like a part in the mold type of a thing. But let's see. There you go. You kind of see what I'm talking about? I think it's something to do in the manufacturing process. At first, I think there was oil or grease or something on there. Wiped it off on the way over here, but no real complaints. They've been good. I prefer other things I have, and I do think these should be cheaper. And what I'm doing here, though, is important, because right here I told you I was taking them to work and I was going to use them, and this does not look like much, but I assure you this is several hundred staples. Okay, pincers work so much better for this. It's just a fact. You can fulcrum them with this. Sometimes you're able to like kind of get in behind them and twist. It was a sad day. I broke the tip off my little Gedore. Very, very little Gedore striking cap. That's one of the reasons we brought it in. I think that video's been released. We had broken a vit prior to that, and that shaft was always flexing on the vit. It was not a striking cap. We replaced it with one, but I got that really tiny one at Gedore, and it broke off. It was a situation. Somebody got staple happy at the factory, and you know, you could see the two, and they angled them weirdly, and one overlapped. But then the kicker was, there was a staple hidden, and so I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, you know, I can usually get this, and tink, snapped her off. Instant sinking heart feeling in my chest. The good news is I can grind it down, you know, and use it for the same thing, but that was just such a really, really awesome tip for what I'm doing with it. But anyway, there were a couple of times you had to use the pincers. These just were not going to grab. I also kind of had some of my shortcomings highlighted. I will tell you, before I took these last night, shot them with Ballistol, I'd say they're breaking in quite nicely. I'm kind of someone that prefers a little stop. I don't like the super floppy handles. That bothers me, I think, more than them being tight, unless they're like absurdly tight. We'll look at these really close in a second, but one crazy thing that happened today is I got a lunch hour, like a full hour. That rarely happens, and naturally, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about these, you know, because I've been using them. I kind of knew, you know, like, you know, that stuff I said in the video last night kind of came to fruition. What's the deal? And right here, just like this, I should have grabbed a pliers wrench, but you know what they look like. I mean, my biggest critique was the diamond. I mean, for frick's sake, do your own thing, right? But that just makes it seem like you want people to confuse it. I would have zero issues with Harbor Freight having a pliers wrench. I would encourage it. It's a great tool. Almost everyone has one now. Put your own spin on it. Do your own thing, right? Innovate. If you're going to copy something, totally fine. You know, patents expire, but like, at least like do your own branding, man. Like right here, Icon, I still have this packaging. Do a rectangle. You know, laser etch Icon. Do something unique. Don't do that. Just blatant, you know, like side to side cheating in class type of a thing. Now, right here, I was always, you know, like we had these laid out, all the German pliers last night, and you heard me complain about where my thumb lands and ergonomics and everything. And I thought, man, what's the deal here, you know? And I had said, you know, they probably patterned it after Snap-on, since that's what they were going to do. Right here on my lunch hour, this is stuff I was looking at. This dumb thing right here looks just like this, minus the branding, and I'm sure this has more aggressive crosshatch on the teeth. And yeah, I can zoom in a little bit for you. You can see we had this discussion about how weird it was that we just had the gripping zone. That's exactly what this is, okay? This is their lowest entry-level model, all right? Price point you would be paying for that is like $55.50. So again, that's basically what they advertise on Harbor Freight. 20 bucks versus 56, 19 to 57. It's a third of the way there, right? You're saving 38. You could buy 3 of these roughly for the same price. But my thing to you, I was like, man, that's so weird. I just assumed that there was a cutter, right? You know, because they weren't advertised as like, you know, sheet metal working stuff or something. Again, like we covered, selling points here and there about both. But like these NWS, grab them real quick again, and you can see they've got multiple grip zones. They've got the side cutter, which would have been really nice today because I had to go grab the pincers to cut cable ties, you know, get the lift hooks and everything. But I want to kind of highlight this, and this is something, like I said, this is their first release, and here's where I'm going to go with it. Aside from them needing to highlight somewhere on this packaging that it's crosshatch teeth, and maybe even show it so people don't have to read, and then highlight that there's not a side cutter and there's no other grip zones, and that is desirable for certain applications. Now, for me, it sucks, especially with what I was doing today. That's why I prefer things that have like tons and tons of teeth, lots of grip area, right? I like them to go farther down. I'm going to come in and I'll just show the phone to you. It's almost dead. But right up at the top, if we go there, $55.50, that's what we were just looking at. Obviously, you get bigger or smaller, the price adjusts somewhat accordingly. But then we come in and you can see right here, it's an 8-inch again, and instead of being $55.05, it's $65. And you say, why is it $10 more? It's got a cutter and a side fastener, okay? So if we click this sucker and we zoom, it's really hard doing this looking through the camera lens, my apologies. All right, so right here, there's the cutter. This right here is multiple grip zones. That actually is very nice in my opinion, and there's the cross hatching at the tip, which is fantastic. This is more akin to what we see with my German selection. This is what I would prefer. There were probably 4 or so half 13 bolts that I wish I would have had that, because I could have just used these to break those free, spin them out by hand. They just simply hold like a sheet metal bracket. But yeah, basically you're adding 10 bucks. There's also one that does not have, think of it as like a 3-tier deal. You have this, pan back out, with just the crosshatch at the teeth. Then you could buy one that just has the cutter, and then you buy one that has the crosshatch, the cutter, and kind of what you see here on the NWS. So kudos to Snap-on for that selection, variety, because like I said, where this is my preference, if I'm working with sheet metal, this would actually be really cool. If I'm doing something delicate where I need to grab and bend, but I do not want to cut, this would be fine. It's preferential even over something like this. Just ensure you're not going to do anything stupid. But in the case of Harbor Freight and Nikon, I think the first needle nose plier you release should have been this. It should have been crosshatch teeth, more gripping zones, side fastener access, and the side cutter. It's just going to resonate better. Now, very well, they could come out and they could even follow Snap-on. We could see this exact pair of pliers with a cutter for $24, and we could see this iteration here on the NWS and Snap-on for $29. Maybe they have no plans of making it, maybe they do, I don't know. But again, just grabbing these in the store, I already knew they were cross-hatched. You know, that's why I wanted them. I wanted to try them. Felt like 19 was a good price. I just assumed there was a side cutter, and then as I was looking at it, I'm like, is the back side? Like, that can't be a good cut that we're going to get there. It's too big of a gap, right? And then be danged, you know, the teeth stop right here. But looking at the Snap-on website, this is their iteration of the $55 pair. Okay, it's exactly what they compared it to, but again, depending on what you're doing, what you expect, what you hope to do, and what you do most frequently, you'll either want to pick these up and try them, kind of like I'm doing, or you'll want to wait and hope that they release something with a cutter or something with the extra grip zones. I will also tell you the, you know, adjustable one Snap-on has, a slip joint with the 3 positions. They've got really, really interesting grip zones, and that might be something that we do. But what I want to highlight now is we use these, right? We had a whole day with them, and we're about half a day, really. 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours, something like that. And this is an assortment of staples. There are some that are just a plain Jane, you know, seal two pieces of cardboard together, and then everything else gets shot through, not just the outside box, which is heavy cardboard, but the inside upright for structure, and then into the pallet, which is usually a 2x4 on its side. But sometimes somebody can't shoot the staple gun straight and it goes into a 4x4. And so they're often stacked. And again, I did use them, like if a staple fell to the ground, you know, I would come in and, being lazy, I would pick them up with the pliers to make sure they could do that. That's a super annoying thing if they can't. Also, that simulates just like if something's way out of reach, like something goes underneath the pallet and I want to get it out, I have to come in, and if I have something 8 inches in my hand that can actually grab and hold and pull, saves me trouble from contorting my hand and, you know, getting a splinter or something stupid. But this is the real payoff. Again, like I said, we did shoot these suckers with Ballistol. Probably spent about, you know, a minute or so last night cranking on them. These actually had a lot of the black crud coming out. It's sort of come off, I guess, probably when I threw them in the bag to bring them home. But there it is. This is the wear after one day. Now, if you're thinking like, hey, why are you, you know, you just showcased these last night, idiot. Why on God's green earth would you be grabbing something down here? So many times, that's like where you need to be, okay? And so it's a situation, I don't always get the luxury of just grabbing right here, okay? I need to come down, you know, where it naturally lands. I like fishtail and try to, in this case with a needle nose, when you don't have a pincer, basically what you're doing is you're gripping the staple and you're having to sort of like twist it. That's why so many of these, if we were to dump them out, have like loops in them. That's me kind of twisting this and then leveraging it out, right? What I try to do is not break it off, because if I break it off, then it's really hard to get out, even with pincers in most cases. Depends on the break point in relation to the wood edge. But worst comes to worst, you take the pincers and you just hammer it back, right? And you do that, why? Because when I go and grab that pallet in 3 months outside to ship something on, or throw to a friend in the back of their truck or something, guess whose hand winds up catching that stupid thing? There might only be one end that broke off out of like 17 or 16 staples, you know, but you just grab it and you're like, ah, and you get stabbed, and depends on the depth whether you draw blood or not, but it's why I'm very, very particular about pulling them out. So also, if you leave them in there, they eventually like start to flash rust, and then if you do need to use that to say ship them order to customer type of a thing, it looks bad. So, you know, I try to preserve and persist. But overall, you know, when you pry out with the drivers, which that's why they're so important to me, and that's why I'm so sad I broke the Gedore, if it's coming out easy after you've pried, these can handle it. If it's medium, I would say, you know, like it's a situation where I'm probably having to twist and fulcrum, but I can get it. There were probably, out of this whole bag and a couple hundred staples, I'd say there's probably like maybe 20, where it's like these just, I might have been able to do it eventually, but you're an idiot if you're investing that time when you have the pincers there that do it like instantly. There are a couple, maybe like 5 of that 20, a quarter of them, where the pincers, I either, you know, like had to pull, squeeze so tight, you know, like we cut it, or, you know, they kind of mangled them too. But they definitely can do the job. They are not ideal. What would be ideal for me, again, is if we had multiple grip zones and we had the teeth extend. I don't really, in this case, need a smooth jaw. That's no knock on these, because they're totally designed different, right? But they did function. They did get some work done for me, and we're just, again, this is about 5-6 hours or so of work. Obviously, we're not using these the whole time, but that's all that they've done. And so the teeth, actually, now that they've got some like grit and different metal on them, they do look a little more impressive. But again, it's just, it's not, they look good, but then when you feel other teeth like the Channellocks and everything, these are very, very mild, right? So the more aggressive, the better, in my opinion, because if you're using crosshatch jaws, you probably don't care about marring the surface anyway. You're interested in holding and pulling. So get that one kind of showcased for you. And then right there, I kind of want to highlight the wear on the smooth jaw, because again, sometimes you just land there. Sometimes the staple like slips as you're fulcruming, and you pull, and so it does get used. Obviously, it would be better for some things than others, particularly like not what I was doing. I don't know if that's cardboard or like a coating off of the staple, but if I go ahead here and just like run my finger in to clean it, I wanted you to see them as is. If we clean that off, not bad. The thing that worries me the most, you know what I was doing, it's these, okay? I didn't do anything nefarious, I didn't push these past their limit. I did free a few carriage bolts, like grade 2, they're probably softer metal than the staples. That, you know, hold brackets down. But if you look along this jawline, again, this was like this yesterday with this big gap, you know, so I was like, what's the deal with that cutter? You get right up here and you can see the very limited area with the teeth, right? But right below that, let me just totally black this out and try to refocus for you. Do you see where there's like imperfections in the jaw, like there's dip, 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 and then sort of a rise and a dip there? That stuff was not there yesterday. That is where that I put on this tool removing staples. That's kind of a concern, right? So same thing over here, you're gonna see it flipped obviously, but you can just see like the gap here, it did get tighter and then it widens out. That's how that was. Okay, that's just, if you're either happy with that or you're like, I see daylight, and you're ticked off. Right? I'm not worried about that. That was there. What I'm worried about is the waviness, where it looks like, you know, like we had a nail or something that sort of wore into that. To see that kind of wear in, you know, a half day's worth of work with staples, like I'm the one that did this, I know what I did it with. This is what you always hear me talk about with things, you know, like it comes down to the material many times, right? So if you've got someone manufacturing in the US, they can use cheap, dirty steel. If you got someone in Germany, they could use cheap, dirty steel. But if you're controlling your own product and controlling your own tolerances, and you've got people that care about what they're doing and you're not trying to cut corners and save money, you can also get really good steel. You can get higher end stuff that, yes, costs more. It's more processed. You refine it differently. You treat it more. That's sort of where all this comes down. You know, like they could come in and they could sell the cutter for 24, the extra grip zone and the cutter for 29, and it could just, if I had the snap-ons here, I could rub off the logos and most of you would not know. That's kind of what they're going for, right? But the problem is, and this would apply across the board with any quality stuff, right? It's just the differences in the materials. Now, what would be ideal if we go out and we say buy the 8-inch Talon grip? I'm not going to buy this pair, okay? They have a cutter and grip zone available. That suits me better. We're doing it. But it should, in theory, you know, have an opportunity to wear worse. If somebody wants to, like, blow the channel up, you know, and get subscribers and we actually, you know, profit from this, I will buy this exact pair. Otherwise, this doesn't really benefit me much, okay? As is, I have no needle nose that have just a smooth jaw that long, so this is kind of functional. You can justify it in that sense in the experimentation. But I would like to see, you know, and I can take the NWS, the Wiha, the, you know, Knipex, whatever down there, and put them through the same paces and see if we get that wear there. The teeth, yeah, you're going to have wear, of course, but like I said, what worries me, and it's not the scratches inside, I don't care about that, they're not egregious, but it's just like, we're already kind of doing that, and that's what I did. This is a ton of staples, but this isn't like I'm showing you this after a month or a year. This is after half of a day. So, do I like them? They're actually okay, especially for $20. Are there improvements I would make? Absolutely. So we covered them last night. The ergonomics, the grip, extending that up. This is not ideal for me at all, but I can't hold that against Icon. Can't hold that against Harbor Freight. That's just a design thing, right? It is bizarre to me that you would release these as your first choice. I don't know. I don't really keep up with, like, the, what is it, Doyle? Maybe Doyle, they have all the other offerings, and they kind of like, oh, this is unique, and people can get it and be exposed to Icon. There's probably a good reason. Maybe these are just the cheapest. They want to see how they, you know, go over. If people like them, maybe they'll take feedback like me and be like, geez, you know, they're right. You know, we need to put a better handle on this. I don't know. But it's real rare that I get to, like, showcase something that's fresh and new and then use it the next day. And here we are, I guess, 20 minutes into this again. But that's why I do timestamps. So yeah, I'm gonna make myself a pizza, and I think Graveyard Cars is new tonight. I'll check that out. while I eat supper, and then I'll work out, and then I'll edit and upload this thing, and if internet's willing, you will see it in the morning. So like I said, most importantly, I hope everyone's had a happy new year, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like I said, you know, if I get more time, we can do more stuff out here. But these are, like I said, really, really new. And now we didn't just get to showcase them, we got to actually get some little seat time with them and showcase it. So another reason I brought these home, I'm trying some plastic welding. And it occurred to me, like, you know, these are pretty tough, especially these ones that go into the wood and through the 2 layers of cardboard. Like, if I cut that or just straighten it out, you know, I'm kind of wondering, like, can I drill a hole, maybe like a tiny little hole, and just have that join the sections and get a better bond? I don't know, but this is basically what they're working with, right? So you never have an opportunity to like grab head on like this. It's really rare, but typically, you know, these are shot in crookedly, real close to the bottom where you can't really get a tool in. Sometimes you can't get the pincers in either. In those cases, you can probably not pull with this, but you're not really going to get to do that, okay? So while this would be cool, and it would be a nice test of the needle nose, you don't get that often. You're typically having to come in and sort of grab it like this and just mutilate the thing. Since these aren't pincers where I can fulcrum back and forth like that, I have to sort of just, you know, mar down on it, and then it starts to pull out, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to get this one. And you come flip to the other side since you have a gap, and you do that, and you end up with like this pretzel looking thing, but you got it out with no breaks, and you're content with that. So yeah, let me know, what do you think of the wear on these? Again, I guess we can re-simulate this. I'll just have to wait for like a order and motors type of a thing, you know, and have the tool in hand. But like I said, I would love to get the snap-on, the exact one, smooth job with barely any grip zone. That for me is just not a cool tool. It's not a good setup. Not gonna lie. It's gonna be great to have this as an option because there are instances where this would be beneficial, but 98-99% of the time, this is just, I have this much of the tool that I can use. So I will say they were comfortable. The grips actually don't look bad at all. I didn't usually, you know, like this is a clean thing. I'm bringing in something new. If this was anything else that I do at work, these would be covered in anti-seize. But they do. This is exactly what they're replicating. Just like this is designed to make you think like, oh, that's Knipex. If I throw this down, it's like, oh, he's got snap-on pliers, you know, especially if somebody's unaware of, you know, like the icon line type of a thing. So I now see exactly what they were trying to do, and honestly, they're not terrible. It's just they're not great either. So I don't know. I'm going to use them, like I said, sheet metal stuff. That's where those are going to shine. But it is what it is. They are crosshatched. That's cool. That's why I got them. If these weren't crosshatched, these would not have come home with me. I don't care if they were $10. I'm not interested. Crosshatched, that gets me going. So with that said, you got a lot of bonus footage. I thought I was being generous when I threw on that little pull test last night, which, you know what? Last thing we're going to do here. Same shaft, same pliers, just a little bit of use on them now. Well, let's see. I'm going to try to get only the grip zone. And let's see, we'll center it up even. Here we go. Yeah, it grips. I mean, they're okay. That's kind of what I can tell you. I'm not going to go out and tell you that these are the greatest needle nose pliers I've ever used, because they're not. But they're also not terrible. They're far from terrible. They're just kind of probably there in the middle ground, and then at the price point, they might become very desirable to a lot of you. So, my advice, if you work with sheet metal or you don't have anything with smooth jaws, this is a viable contender. For everyone else, if you're more accustomed to this, like once you have this, like the side fastener snap-on calls it, it's really nice. It just adds more versatility. The other thing, the cutter, like I think that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. So, but it is what it is. Like I said, we will see how this develops. We'll see if they come out with more. We'll also possibly bring those in. I would love to see them copy the fancy one, the 3, you know, like give me everything. Give me the crosshatch that goes farther down, give me multiple grip zones, give me the side fastener, give me the cutter, and then improve the handle, you know, like do your own thing and run with it, you know, kind of make it your own, make it the best you can be, put it at a competitive price point and see what happens, you know. But yeah, with that said, this is our little duo of icon pliers here. And I'll leave it at that. So, like I said, Happy New Year. Hope you're enjoying. Everyone, there's a lot of you that prefer the long videos, and thanks to this day one usage, you got just that. So, getting the new year started off with a ridiculously long video. What else would you expect? For everyone that complains, there's timestamps. You're welcome. But with that said, thanks again for watching. Happy New Year. I will catch you back here for more action from the shop.